Today we're recording a mock draft video. Now I do have 2K on in the background. This is some pre-recorded gameplay with a voiceover. The first time you're actually going to get pre-recorded gameplay and a voiceover in the same thing. It's new, isn't it? It's kind of new. But we're doing a 2019 mock draft. As of recording, the draft is in 4 days, and I cannot wait. The draft is going to be so interesting this year. So interesting. We got so much stuff going on that I can't even, I don't know. I can't even express it in words. I'm so excited. But yeah, we're doing a mock draft today. If you guys enjoy this mock draft and think it's a good mock draft, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll come with more videos after the draft. Maybe some prospect rebuilds after we see where people get drafted. You know, we have to see. I don't want to just like assume. I have to see where these guys get drafted, but once we do see where they get drafted, we are going to come in with some prospect rebuilds and try and rebuild some of these teams. So now, without further ado, the number 1 pick. New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson. Pretty obvious here. Zion from Duke. I have him as a power forward in this league. A lot of people may put him at small forward. I think he's a power forward. He plays like a big man, but he can handle the ball and pass, which is where some people may put him at the small forward position. But in my eyes, Zion is a power forward. Now, of course, he has to work on that 3-point shot. I know I'm a Simmons fan, but I don't want to see none of that Ben Simmons stuff where he just is afraid to shoot. He's not going to shoot. I mean, Zion did shoot the ball in college, but I need to see it in the NBA. I need to see it translate. Of course, his athleticism. Just the big thing about Zion is his injuries. We saw it with the shoe thing, but with a guy that big, he is going to get injured, especially leg and feet, so we have to watch for that. But he's going to be good. He's going to be. I don't care what anyone says. Zion is going to be good. You don't get a player like Zion, and he's just like not good. He's going to be good. You just know it. You just know it. So number 2 pick, Memphis, Ja Morant from Murray State. I think this one's pretty obvious here. Morant, crazy athletic. Can shoot the 3 too. He's just like all around, just a really good player. I can't wait to see him in the league. He's gonna beast mode it. I have him for Rookie of the Year. I can't wait to see him in the league. I don't really have that much to say about Ja because I didn't really get a chance to watch a ton of Murray State games besides the tournament, the 2 they faced, Marquette and Florida State. So number 3, New York, R.J. Barrett. Again, athletic, can drive. I just need his shot to get a little more consistent. We saw him missing free throws in the tourney, missing threes in the tourney. He did get a clutch and one, but still, I need to see him with a consistent jumper. 4, I originally had this list with Los Angeles, but after the recent trade, Anthony Davis trade, it's New Orleans, and I have them taking the same guy I had Los Angeles taking. That is DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter, offense and defensive player, does both, but he doesn't excel at one thing. Like, he's good at offense, he's good at defense, but he doesn't excel at one thing. That's why I'm a little nervous about him. Is that most players excel at stuff like Zion, athleticism, RJ, athleticism, Ja, athleticism, like Darius Garland, shooting, Jackson Hayes, rebounding. Like, people in this draft excel at something. DeAndre really doesn't. That's why I'm a little nervous about him. But I think he's going to be a good 2-way player. And the Pelicans now they need players that can actually play basketball on their team because they kind of suck. But that's I mean it's a good start for your rebuild. You're getting Zion and Hunter and Lonzo and Garland, or not Garland. Why did I say Ingram? That's what I meant. You're getting a good future for your rebuild, along with 3 first-round picks and 3 picks with swap rights. So it's nice for the Pelicans. 5th, Cleveland taking Jarrett Culver. They don't need a point guard. They have Colin Sexton. They need a shooting guard or a small forward. Culver plays shooting guard and small forward sometimes. He can score. He can play defense. He can score off the dribble. He can score off the dribble. He doesn't have to do it off the dribble. Culver can score it anyway. So I like Culver. He's going to be good in this league. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. Darius Garland, going to Phoenix, pick 6. The reason I like this pick for Phoenix because they really need a point guard, so they're lacking. They had Devin Booker play some point guard last year, but they really need a point guard. Garland can shoot the ball from literally anywhere on the court. If you've seen highlights, if you've seen like in practice, combine stuff, workouts with teams, films like that, he can literally shoot. He shot like 10 for 10 from like this range here where I am at 2K right now. It's perfect timing, but he shot like 10 for 10 there. It was amazing. He's so good. 7, Chicago, Kobe White, point guard. They do need a point guard. They were originally going to trade this pick for Lonzo, but after the Davis trade, they really can't because the trade thing, you can't trade after a certain date or something. You have to wait, besides picks. But the reason I think they're going to take Kobe White is not just because they need a point guard. It's because I think Chicago always has this weird thing. They always have like a plan. They always see the future somehow, some way. But I personally don't see anything in Kobe White that I like. Like I don't think he's going to be that great. But just Chicago's shown growing interest in him. That's why I have them taking him here. 8, Atlanta, Cam Reddish, 3-and-D player. When Trae Young drives in, drive and kick out to Cam Reddish for 3, and he also lock up your best player. I think he's going to be good in this league, definitely, 100%. Next we got Washington, Rui Hachimura. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I have him going to Washington because you have 2 good guards, Bradley Beal and John Wall, injured man. You really do need you really do need a big man. And Rui plays small forward and power forward, which you can use him at both positions and have someone for John Wall, Bradley Beal to pass to go into the post to create open looks from 3 for Bradley Beal. It's good. It's good draft pick. 10, Atlanta taking Jackson Hayes. This would make their starting lineup probably Trae Young, Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter, Jackson Hayes, and John Collins. And that's a pretty good young starting lineup. Give them like 1 or 2 years to mesh together, and they could make the playoffs definitely. Jackson Hayes, good rebounder, can play defense, 7 foot tall, out of Texas. I really like his game. He's going to be good. He's definitely going to be good. Minnesota taking Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, some people may have this guy going into late teens, like 15, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have him going 11 to Minnesota. And not because Nickeil's good, it's because Minnesota kind of sucks at drafting. If you're a Minnesota fan, I'm sorry, but you know that's true. Minnesota's not the greatest draft, but Nickeil does have a good 3-point shot, surround Wiggins and Towns, 2 inside players, with a good 3-point shooter. That may be what they're looking for, so that's why I have them going with him. Now, 12, Charlotte, Sekou Doumbia. That's who I have them taking here. And the reason I have them taking Sekou from France is because he's raw prospect, crazy athleticism, can shoot, can score in the post, play defense, can dribble, is fast, and he can play big man positions, which is what the Hornets really need. Like, they really need someone who can play like a big man position. They need a center, they need a power forward. Even just a small forward would be good for them. And like to keep Kemba there, which I already think he's going to stay. There's someone he can just throw lobs to, and that he can catch, and it's good. It's perfect. 13, Miami, Romeo Langford. They need a shooting guard. Dion Waiters isn't what they wanted. Dion Waiters doesn't. You don't want Dion to be your starting shooting guard. And Romeo can score the ball like no one else, like no other. He's just a pure scorer. If you need a bucket, Romeo will get you a bucket. I like Romeo. I like his game. He's gonna be great. And it's just a pure scorer for Miami. I like that pick. Boston, 14, taking Bruno Fernando. He's a center, can play defense, can inside score, and can rebound. That's really all you need. If the rumors are true that Boston's going to trade Al Horford, then you kind of need a center replacement. And I say they go Bruno Fernando. 15, Detroit taking Keldon Johnson. I've heard this multiple times. He has the smoothest... I cannot talk today. He has the smoothest jump shot in the draft. It's like Klay Thompson. It's pure, it's smooth, it's amazing jump shot. I absolutely love it. He's going to be so good. he's a pure shooter. Like he can even score off the dribble. He's good. It's like C.J. McCollum. He can shoot. He can score off the dribble. He's good. Nasir Little, I call him the Zion stopper in high school. He stopped Zion, held him to 2 points. Crazy athletic, cannot really shoot. He played on the bench for North Carolina, which actually surprised me because he was a top recruit. But he's definitely going to be able to score inside with dunks and the crazy layups, and play defense and lock up your best guy. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. 17 Brooklyn Bol. If they do end up signing Kyrie, if Kyrie gets trapped inside, pick and pop, or he wants to just drive and kick, or he gets trapped in the corner, passes out to Bol, he'll shoot a deep three. He's 7'3", and he has handles like a guard, and he shoots like a guard. That's not Ben Simmons. He shoots like he's good, you know. He's going to be a great big man to pair with a point guard who can pass. 18, Indiana taking Kazi Okpala. Again, a shooter to pair next to if they get a point guard, or even if they don't, they have Darren Collison who can pass, and Victor Oladipo. Kazi can shoot the ball. There's a lot of shooters in this draft. I like that. 19, San Antonio taking Brandon Clark. They normally take older prospects. That's why I have them taking Brandon Clark here. He's a senior. He's 22. Unlike a lot of the 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds in this draft. He's 22. And the Spurs, I feel like whoever they take is just going to become good. Like they just know how to develop players. And that's what I really like about the Spurs. I hate the organization. I don't like the Spurs. Especially Tony Parker. I hate Tony Parker. But they do know how to develop players, and that is a good thing, unlike Orlando. 20, Boston, Cam Reddish, or not Cam Reddish, Cam Johnson, out of, North Carolina. He is, he's a scorer, but he doesn't play much defense. I'm kind of weary about him, but he's going to be alright, maybe, I hope. I mean, for all these players' sake, I hope they're good and make it in the league. You just it's not 100%. None of these players, it's not. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but some of these players are gonna be good. Some of these players aren't gonna live up to the hype. Some of these players are. Some of these players are gonna come out of nowhere, and some of them are just gonna fall off the face of the earth, never be heard of again. That's just going to happen. It's inevitable. But for these guys' sake, I hope none of them none of that happens to them. But it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So next we have 21 OKC taking Matisse Thybulle. Now the thing about him is he's not much of an offensive guy. He can score inside and off the dribble, but doesn't really shoot the three. I really think the Thunder need a guy who can shoot the three. But he's kind of like another Andre Roberson, but just like a tiny bit better. 3-point shot, he'll lock up your best player and maybe hit the three at 32%, unlike Roberson's 22%. So a little better of a 3-point shooter, but still not great. Next we have 22, Boston, Charles Bassey. Again, another center. If Bruno Fernando doesn't work out for them, they can try Charles Bassey. It's really about it. From Western Kentucky, pretty good. 23, Utah taking P.J. Washington. If you have the non-stretch ability of a guy like Rudy Gobert, you need to pair him with a stretch 4, which is what P.J. Washington does. 24, Philadelphia taking Tyler Herro, a shooter, a white, kind of like J.J. Redick. This for Philly needs shooters. I saw in the playoffs. I'm a huge Sixers fan. When our bench comes in, we have no offense. It's just kind of stagnant. James Ennis was our offense. Think about that for a second. Yeah, so you can now see why we really need a shooter, because James Ennis was our freaking offense. 25, Portland, Goga Bitadze. From Georgia. Not Georgia the college, but Georgia the country. The thing with him is he's another European big man, which Portland kind of likes. They've had a lot of them. They even have Nurkic, but if Nurkic never comes back the same from that injury, they're going to need a big man to replace him. And a big man is kind of what they need. That or a small forward. I like Al-Farouq Aminu beside Lillard and McCollum. They really need a small forward besides Mo Harkless. And After that injury, it could affect Nurkic's career, so he might need a center to replace. Next, we have Cleveland, 26, Taylor Horton-Tucker. He kind of is average at best on offense, and pretty good in defense. Small forward position. Cleveland just really needs to fill a ton of needs, so that's what they're doing here. 27, Brooklyn taking Daniel Gafford. I didn't really have a ton of reason behind this pick for Brooklyn. They already have Jarrett Allen, but maybe just a good backup who can play defense and rebound, and that's about it. 28, Golden State, Naz Reid. I mean, Golden State loves their three-point shooting. Naz Reid is literally, he's ginormous. He's a tank. Like, he run anyone over, like literally anyone, and he can shoot threes. So, like, why wouldn't Golden State take him? They love their three-point shooting, and he's a tank. They love personalities, like Draymond. 29, San Antonio Spurs. Taking Mfiondu Kabengele from Florida State. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. If you're, like, a Florida State fan, I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Didn't catch a ton of Florida State games this year. But I know he can stretch the floor as a power forward. Kind of a young, raw prospect. But he can stretch the floor alongside LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. So I like that. I like that pick. Now, 30th, the last pick. This was super close. And it sucks that I have one of these two guys going into the second round. You may be asking, where the heck is Kevin Porter? But his defense is such a liability that I have him falling to 30th to Milwaukee. Kevin Porter was good at USC. He's an offensive guy, but he's such a defensive liability that I just have teams passing up on him for these other guys who can play defense and can play offense. Kevin Porter going 30th to Milwaukee. It was really close between him and what's it called? Him and Carson Edwards. But the reason I went with Kevin Porter here instead of Carson Edwards is because Milwaukee already has Eric Bledsoe under contract, but they need to pay Malcolm Brogdon. And if they don't want to match Malcolm Brogdon's contract, if someone gives him this free agency this year, then they need a shooting guard to replace him. And Kevin Porter is a shooting guard that can shoot the ball next to Giannis and space the floor. Carson Edwards, again, a point guard who can space the floor and pass very well. We saw it in the tournament. Oh my god, he was really good. 30-point games, 40-point games. He's doing everything out there. But I just don't think they need an undersized point guard. That's the one thing about Carson Edwards. 6 foot. It's kind of undersized for today's game. If you get someone under 6'2", you're considered undersized now for a point guard position. Average point guard height's now like 6'3", I'm pretty sure. So you really need someone who can, who's not undersized. And I know he is also a defensive liability. Carson Edwards is also a defensive liability, but his offense makes up for it. Same with Kevin Porter. I just think for the Bucks' needs, they need a shooting guard more than a point guard. I spent more on the 30th pick. I spent more time on the 30th pick than I did the 18 through 20, or 18 through. I can't even talk. I was meant to say 18 through 29. Jesus, I cannot talk. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you think this is a good mock draft, leave a like and subscribe for more. The draft is on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you Google it, it will only tell you the Eastern, so you may have to Google it when 7 p.m. Eastern Time is for your time zone, Western, whatever. I actually don't know. I still have to Google that for West. Because I need to be able to know if I'm going to be home to watch the draft. Because I really want to watch the draft. I got to see if my mock draft is correct. If I get more than 30 or 40% correct, I'll be happy. Last year, I got the first 10 picks correct. I was with some friends, and I got just the first 10 picks correct, guessing. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, well, make sure you guys tune into the draft and watch this video. See if I'm right. See if you guys are right. Make your own mock drafts. Tell me if you have any suggestions for things I may have gotten wrong in this mock draft. Leave them down in the comments. And, yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.